Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again in Ellie on Point. And today I have a very special guest. I'm so excited to have this friend today, a fellow biohacker. I've known him since pandemic days. And whenever I think about ice bath or cold plunge, he's this man is the top of mind because he is also known as the Iceman of the Philippines. So everybody, please welcome Ali Borromeo.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Ali, for having me. Pleasure.
Yeah, so good to have you. I've always wanted to have an ice bath expert. I've tried it myself and I did enjoy it for a couple of years and then I didn't enjoy it anymore. But, maybe you could change my mind because I really want to see, ask about the science and also find out the benefits because I know you see a lot of people as well. Yeah, Alice, I know you were the former captain of the Ascals.
Correct.
Yeah. So just to find out what are for high performers like the ASCALs, what do sports teams do now or then and now for like high performance recovery?
Wow. Where do I start? Recovery starts the minute you leave the pitch, right? Right away. You got you did some wear and tear on your joints throughout the game, whatever kind of sport you were in. So you gotta get the inflammation out as soon as you can, recover for the next session, right? So right away, get the ice in there. If it's a chronic injury, then you want some contrast therapy going on. But ideally, ice, good nutrition, then number one, good sleep.
Right, that's number one. And ice is just so accessible. I remember when I was running marathons, like 42K marathons, like 100 years ago, in when I was like 35 or something like that in Canada. The ice baths were already quite a thing that time. So they would make us go into ice baths for like 12 minutes after a marathon. So why did it just parang it feels like it just bloomed the past few years. Of course with the Iceman Wim Hof and everything, he made it kind of the thing to do. So what happened?
I guess, it's like you said, it's been there for a while. It's always been the recovery process for all, especially in sports, right? But you never used to go full immersion. It was always just waist deep and get the legs in there, and it'd be like, okay, 2 minutes to ball, let's get out, and then like for some reason, I just found it so stimulating, and so I got more energy out of it, and I'd be always the last one in the tub with my team, and I'd stay in there, and I'd get wow, I could run to play another game, diba? So I got kind of like, I'd look for it, basically. I'd look for the cold. It would just help my energy levels go up. And then from then on, I just, during pandemic, I started doing full immersion. Actually, before that, I started experimenting with I was in a condo and I'd just fill up this big, 6-liter water jugs and pour that stuff right in my forehead and chest area every morning and stand up that acute stress, right? For like 30 seconds. And it's like, oh, okay. And then you get the energy. So that's how I started. That was my journey, right?
That was like that ALS challenge, diba? Where people are like pouring buckets of ice or something.
Yeah. But this time, I mean, of course, you have to feel the stress. You have to let go. Diba? Like, okay, stand and not bust out and run.
Right. I remember seeing your stories and everything, and you started out with like a freezer, right? I think people kind of start out because at the time wala pang custom made, with refrigeration and everything. So you kind of have to DIY it. And I think you started out with a freezer, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the best way Wim Hof does when he's not in his own space, right? But the freezer's it's the coldest. It's always going to be around 0 degrees because it freezes in the bottom and there's always ice on top. Like the regular tubs, the regular cold plunges, they hover around 3 to 5 degrees, which is pretty good already. So it really depends on many circumstances.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I remember Wim Hof, I think maybe part of the reason that it kind of exploded as well is I don't think that ice baths were ever considered for mental and emotional resilience before. Parang it was always just like physical, to bring down the inflammation and swelling after, running a 42K. You want to help your body kind of recover faster.
Yeah.
I think what Wim Hof brought to the table was that when he got into ice baths, it helped with his mental resilience because he was going through such a tough time with his wife, committing suicide and everything. And he kind of felt the solace and felt relief from that.
Yes, when you get to nature and just that's why it's called deliberate cold exposure, right? It's you do it and you really don't want to do it. That's the most beneficial. You get the more stimulation in your mitochondria that way. After exercise, it's of course beneficial, but it's easier when your body temp is already warm and you can go in there. So you don't get the mental aspect. You don't get the resilience like you're talking about, right?
Right. So what's like the minimum effective dose for ice baths in your experience? And does it differ between men and women? And kasi, and also would you be able to kind of address that thing going around about it's not good for women? Because there are a few health gurus and experts saying, oh, women shouldn't do it and whatever, and men have a better tolerance. What would
Yeah.
you say?
You know, women have more subcutaneous fat, so they're very sensitive right away, right? So they don't need to be in the ice, especially deliberately. It's not good. It's not good of a shock, right? You tend to vacillate and your arteries open up, constrict faster than us men, right? So in the sauna, like for us men, when we go in there, we'll start sweating right away. You guys can be in there like 20 minutes and chilling, like we'll be like panicking already. And for the cold, it's yeah, you don't need that cold. It doesn't need to be ice. You get the stimulation from 12 to 15 degrees already and not too long. So for women, it depends also, of course, on your cycle, right? Because you have a whole month cycle. As men, we're 24 hours, right? So we're always trying to fight something.
Right. So, yeah. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. You kind of cut out there.
But yeah, so basically, very different. For women, it depends on your stress levels or on your time of the month. When your energy's high, when your body's in heat the most, is usually like when you get your period, right? So from then on is when you're looking for that workout, you're looking for that stimulation. So that's the best time for you guys to go into the ice, right? Unlike before, then you gotta do a lot of breathing exercises, slow workout, just walking the butt, nothing too stressful.
Okay, so you're saying that the best time is during the period time?
Is right when you're warm. So you're looking for energy. You're just full of heat. So that's the best time to go into the cold. Yeah,
Wow.
that's the second phase, I believe.
Oh, how cool. Okay, so that's a time. And then then you mentioned breath work. So the breath work is to get you kind of warmed up before and also kind of like mindset training and get a Jedi mind before you go plunge inside or something.
Home breathing, you want the model
Oh,
similar, right? So you want to warm up, get the norepinephrine, start going, and then that way it's much easier the stress when you're inside the cold. When you get to the cold.
right. So also this is cold plunging. So then, cold is actually thermogenic. It generates heat. So do people actually lose weight when they have a regular cold plunge practice?
Eventually, yes, your body, it's all about tapping into your brown fat, right? Which we to lose as you get older. For like babies, why don't babies shiver? Because they had extra brown fat, keep them insulated, keep them warm. And that's only activated when we undergo acute stress. So if we need that to produce more mitochondria, to get more energy. That's why Russians, they leave their babies out in the wintertime for like 20 minutes to build their immune system, to build that activated brown fat, which is thermogenic.
Right. Yeah. And the reason it's brown is because it's mitochondria rich or something like that.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
activate the bus. So when you get to the cold right away, it's there for protection for us. So when that's activated, then you're actually in a fat burning mode. You don't have to activate the fat before you burn it, right? It's a common thing. It's like, okay, when you start jogging, for example, you have to activate the fat before you start burning it. Diba? I'm not sure the
Right.
term, but it's the same thing. When you get to the cold, that's why it's very beneficial to get to the cold, to go into cold before exercise, right? You stimulate your mitochondria right away. You're skipping that stage of warming up because you're pre-cooling your muscles already.
Wow.
Nitric oxide, so it's easier for the first few lifts of your workout are much easier. It's like you don't need to warm up. You're just in there. You're in the zone. There's no need for second wind.
Right. So the nitric oxide is at first like that, like when
Yeah,
you get the shock.
parts. Yeah.
Yeah.
The gas reflex is where you start activating all the fat burning mechanisms of your body, right? Because your body's in survival mode. So it's going to use right away, tap into sugar, tap into your energy system.
Right. So how many minutes before a workout and how cold is cold enough? Like for a guy, and of course now we know that for women it doesn't have to be that cold, but for a guy, let's say.
All you need is 30 seconds, break the thermal layer. Because ideally, when you do cold the plunge practice, you stay in there, you do a head dunk to activate your parasympathetic state. So you want to get your neck in there. You want to touch that with the cold. It's actually going to bring down your stress, lower your heart rate. Most people are scared to do a head dunk. Initial part, they go in little by little, or they go in like, oh, so the more they're going to get stressed, right? And when you actually grip your face in, your neck, get the vagus nerve touched, then your body realizes, okay, let's go parasympathetic now, right? So that's going to you down in the ice and lower your heart rate. So that's the whole calmness you want to achieve. So there's many ways to go at it, right? So if you want to get that espresso shot times 10, then go in, head dunk down, up and down, splash water, like you're panic swimming in there. And then don't adapt, right? Don't adapt to the stress. So when you just panic swim, get in and out of the water and then jump out, you're gonna have like your heart rate's gonna be up, and that's when you can ride on the wave and do your workout.
Right. Okay. I feel that. Yeah, I kind of feel it. Panic swimming. Yes, I understand. I went to the polar bear swim in Vancouver, Canada. When I was like living there. This is every new year they have the polar bears where people dive into the ocean and it's like minus zero. It's like minus or minsan it's 1 degree Celsius. It's
Amazing. Yeah.
extremely cold. But it's so sarap. It's really refreshing actually when you're just gliding through icy water.
Oh, it's different too when it's nature. It's different when it's like terrible of when you put a lot of Epsom salt in the water. It's different because your body absorbs it. Our skin's the number one organ. It absorbs everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it would mimic also like the amniotic fluid that we survived in. It's kind of like our aquatic stage, part of our evolution as well. So it feels like home, except that it's a cold womb, not warm.
We love the water so much. It reminds us of our mother's womb, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we are aquatic. I mean that's still a part of us. We have that mammalian reflex and everything when we're free diving that comes from that's like a vestige of our evolution as
Yeah.
aquatic. Yeah.
And that's a problem with society these days. We don't tap into that mammalian reflex of ours enough, right? It's like we're too comfortable. We're just chilling, having merienda, 3-in-1 coffee, and eating all the carbohydrates and get sleepy and our blood sugar, and it's all like a constant cycle. I feel bad. You're like, come on, guys, let's go. Let's just move a bit. Stand up from your chair. Don't sit down too long, and then build momentum. Diba? That's it.
Totally. And I've met this natural biohacker who invented his own mammalian reflex kind of thing. He calls it a gasp. He calls it gasp maneuver. And we tried it and we might have a workshop to teach people about it. It's really so fast. Like there's a swallow, so it has a glossopharyngeal nerve, the cranial nerve number 9, and then it moves you into it's a really fast vagal break, like exactly what you're trying to do with dumping, right? Because in the brainstem, that's where all the cranial nerves come from. So the vagus is also there, number 10, and then all of the facial nerves around here, which are connected to the vagus as well. So it's like parasympathetic. But this one is like above water, and you do it like for like 10 seconds. It raises your heart rate for a few seconds and then you go down, like it goes down fast. It's so galing. So baka nga, I don't know, maybe for your cold plunging you might.
I experiment a lot. Well, I incorporate the cold plunge into my workouts, right, to the ice. So I'll do like a high intensity workout and then jump into the cold, but like lowering my heart rate instead, like really just focus on breathing, right? And right away, it just like I'm back to like 50 beats per minute, and then that's when I'm like adapted. So it's just basically training your body how to adapt to stress quicker.
Pretty much. Resilience. So talk to us also about the cold shock proteins, because we often hear about heat shock proteins with sauna. With the cold, there's cold shock proteins.
Yeah.
So what does that do?
That's where it's detoxifying for us basically, right? So like anything that stimulates our liver likes, for example, being stimulated by gravity, when you're jumping on a rebounder. So all that it's in the air, the shock of the landing, it stimulates bile and the acids and the proteins start coming out. It's just getting to the cold, getting to the hot, exercise. They all do the same kind of mechanism.
Yeah, so kind of like it's like you're in survival mode. So it's like, okay, all the organs are like, salute, what are we gonna do now? We have to kind of step up and do something.
When you splash cold water in your forehead and your face in the morning, you want to pee right after, right? It's like it stimulates norepinephrine. Once you stimulate norepinephrine, then boom, right away, you just activate. Diba?
Yeah, I feel that gasp already, even if it's just like just a cold shower. Already, like on my head when it would my hand, I'm like already there's that nitric oxide, that gas reflex is already there. Yeah. So would you say that people who are new to it or are kind of afraid of the ice, that they would start there?
Well, yeah, they don't have to start with cold, right? I mean, extreme ice right away. So they can do like 15 degrees, and slowly just do the forehead, do the chest area where the nerves are, dip your face in the bowl, and just to activate a bit. And then once you get little by little, your body starts looking for that kind of good stress here and there.
Right. So would you say like it's okay, it's safe, pretty safe to do it on a daily basis?
I would say coolly, first thing in the morning, you can do like, ideally the sweet spot would be 2 to 5 degrees, 2 to 5 minutes. If you're a weekend warrior gym guy, 3 to 5 times a week, then that's the sweet spot. 11 minutes a week, 11, 12 minutes, see 2 to 5 degrees, 2 to 5 minutes. That's for the average goer.
2 to 5 minutes. You said 2 to 5 degrees, 2 to 5 minutes, 3 times a week.
Yes. So ideally 11 to 12 minutes total is like the good stimulation you can get, the good benefits.
Okay. And with a no immersion, like full immersion.
Yes, that's in full immersion. That's according to like Sila Huberman and then Dr. Rhonda Patrick, all the top neuroscientists in the world.
That's what they want. Yeah, because I remember when the ice baths came out, cryo also came out. But cryo before, when I went to the biohacking conference and went to Upgrade Labs, before it was just until the neck.
Yeah.
And then about a year later, they changed to full na, lahat na. Even the head was in there.
Yeah. I never tried that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's intense. It's intense. It's
It's
like
more like felt the kind of compared to the ice. I've always liked the ice.
I feel like it's too much collateral, too much effort, or too much material for the cold. Because you're freezing the air, you're making the air cold. In ice, it's the water, you're immersed in it. I think it's different.
I think that penetrates more into our organs. I think that's more the scientific data on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, plus mahal yung cryo, you need nitrogen tanks and all of that, diba? And if it's a malfunction, wala. Ito, if mawalan ka ng ice, bili ka na lang dun sa kanto ng, ng yellow and then you're fine, you're good, diba? Because it's so low maintenance. So, Als, when is too much too much? When is it too much? Like, when would you pull the reins on ice bath for someone?
I've gone through this. I've been doing it for 6, 7 years, So it's all about controlling your dopamine response to it. We get dopamine from too many things, too much stimulation from our cell phones. First of all, it's like a 110,000 increase because we don't know what it is. But we don't know the kind of stimulation, so that affects us. We're always looking for a quick dopamine hit. And dopamine is like a rubber band, right? So if you abuse it, it's just gonna come back. And with the ice, you get the dopamine, but eventually it's not gonna. You get parang how do you say it? Numb to it. It won't affect you anymore, right? You still get the quick, good stimulation, but you don't get the good feeling after. You don't get that kind of oxytocin too. I mean the
Serotonin.
serotonin. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. So these people are more or less parang, are they going through something, or usually they're just not able to they're not resilient in terms of like regulating their nervous system. They don't have that capacity yet.
yeah, they don't undergo that too much stimulation of stress. It's all a balance of cortisol, diba? So I mean, it's stressful to get into the ice, first of all, right? So you want to leave the ice in a non-stressful state because that's going to affect your the next few hours of your day. It's going to make you more stressed if you get out of the ice stress. But if you control that stress, if you breathe through it, then you get that steady surge of dopamine for 4 to 6 hours after, just by being in the cold for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I
it's all about, sorry,
Yeah, no, go ahead. It's all a part of.
it's just basically training our brain how to adapt. That's it. Anyone and we all this special brain powers which we don't use. It's like switching off, switching on, and it goes with every aspect in life. You know how to control that parasympathetic and sympathetic state because every day we're too much on that fight or flight. We wake up, we're already like thinking about stress or money, or putting food on the table for our families, whatever it is. We're stressed. We don't have 20 minutes in the morning just for yourself and focus and just looking forward and moving forward and breathing. That's all we need. and a few bounces, shake off, breathe while doing that, and it'll just change your day. You don't have to get in the cold like me every morning. Don't you have to do that? But you can just look forward, move forward, look left, right, stimulate dopamine, and it'll just change your whole day.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's nothing like the free biohacks, because we have so much brain power. Exactly. And that's actually what biohacking is all about. It's really trying to harness that particular superpower of being able to self-regulate. And then, doing the techniques and finding the techniques on how to do that. And ice bath is one of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a tool. It's not. It becomes eventually like a few years ago. I started getting addicted to it. And which is like I had to regress a bit. So I would start not do too cold too much. I would go down to like 5 degrees, 8 degrees, and then maybe stay a bit longer. And like, wow, so my dopamine was better. It was clearer. Like I was like happier. Unlike the ice, it was becoming more stressful to my body, right? So I would be like, oh my God, like it's too much stress. I'll be on fight or flight mode too much. I wouldn't get down to parasympathetic. So I had to regress a bit and get off the ice for a few weeks and just go down to a bit warmer temperatures.
I love that. Yeah. I love that because that's N of one, and that's biohacking. It's like, you're buying the value. Meet yourself where you're at, diba? Regardless of like what you think you should be, meet yourself to like be real. And it's like, I don't think this is gonna do me good for now. And I'm gonna modify it a little bit.
Well, yourself, right? You gotta realize your habits, what you're doing, killing your body.
Exactly. That's what I love about when I learned about, Dave Asprey. He was saying like people over he said something really novel that time. For that time, he said that exercise can be bad for you. Exercise or movement can be bad for you, and he called it cardiac cardio. Where before that, we were always being pitched na, 60 minutes of cardio a day will keep the doctor. We learned this from the 80s, and from Jane Fonda. It's like exercise every day, and so all of us were like pumping, pumping, pumping. And then suddenly this guy says exercise can actually get you out of your sweet spot. It can actually be detrimental, and it's kind of like eye opening because you feel it there when you over exercise or when you're overexerting or you're overtraining or whatever. It really feels like it's pushing you off the edge. But then, you have these contradicting statements from everybody saying that, but no, exercise is super good for you. It has to, but then I don't feel good when I do it. So there is such a thing as too much.
Oh, definitely. Too much of anything is bad. That's why in life, homeostasis is key, right? You want to be there. You want to be there. And we're not there. We're never there anymore in this society. It's so sad.
Yeah, plus what I also learned with biohacking is that your energy profile changes as you age, especially women. Women are more no, variable in terms of like our energy profile because our hormones go up and down faster than males. Males are more stable.
Yeah.
So like me at 44, where I can, do like a 1 hour HIIT at 54 or 53 right now, boy, it would kill me. I wouldn't have that energy now because my hormones have also shifted. And when your hormones shift, your thyroid also kind of shifts, and that also affects your adrenal axis, diba? So the cortisol that comes out and everything. So parang to meet yourself where you're at and do what will make you stay on your sweet spot. That might mean never doing cardio, and just doing the mid lang, like walking, like brisk walking or something like that.
Just not zone two, not just chilling and having a conversation, walking. This is the key, right? You're still moving and you're getting the blood flow. That's what our ancestors did every day. That's why humans can not out sprint any animal, but we can hunt for days because we have the capability to be at that zone 2, zone 3 the whole time.
Right, the endurance. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Especially
endurance.
especially men, you have more red blood cells, so therefore your capacity for oxygen is much, much more than women. Of course, you evolved to be hunters, diba? So you guys really have that capacity more. And walking is like brain therapy. Kasi while you're walking, your eyes are also moving. So if you know what EMDR is, do you know eye movements desensitization? I forget now, repatterning or something like that. So
Okay.
EMDR is the movement of the eyes, and it was actually discovered because the person who discovered it said that, you know, when you're walking, your eyes are also moving, and that's why it feels therapeutic. You feel better when you're walking. Then, if you're having a fight with someone, invite them for a walk. Why? Because when you walk, you usually walk shoulder to shoulder, side by side. So it's non-confrontational. And it's instead of in front, but when you're in front, that's confrontational.
Okay. Okay. I actually have all my meetings when it comes to money and stuff inside. My sauna goes to 120 degrees Celsius. So, you know, you have to, you can't hide anything. You'll be very vulnerable. You especially if you're, I know if you're lying, diba? So, thinking about have a meeting in the sauna.
For people without a sauna, then walk 12 noon under the blaring sun, side by side.
That's
Yeah, yeah. Because if you're walking side by side, you're also getting brain therapy. You're also regulating yourself emotionally. So that might diffuse the, you know, the argument a little.
ano naman.
For husbands and wives there that need some sort of, you know, yeah, conversation therapy. Yeah. So that's cool. So are there a lot of studies in your experience, Alf, like a lot of studies that back up the therapeutic benefits of ice bath and immersion?
Totally. Oh my God. From testosterone levels to, you know, just building, just energizing your mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of our cells. You know, there's so many ways to go about cold plunging. The only thing drawback that's out there right now is you don't want to do it right after hypertrophy workouts or something you're adapting to, because the cold will always blunt inflammation right away. But you know, if
Yeah.
you're doing cardio, you're an average, if you're not lifting for trying to be a bodybuilder or anything like that, then go into the cold anytime you want. It's going to be more and more beneficial. The more you go in, the more your body will look for it, and the more energy you're going to get. Your body will tell you when it's time to stop. When there's too much stress, you know, it'll be too much. Like I said, dopamine is like a rubber band. You can't abuse it.
Yeah. So when a client approaches you, Als, what's the first thing that you ask? I imagine that you tailor the protocol to whatever you think they need. So what are the main questions that you ask them before formulating something like a protocol program for them?
Why are you going to the cold? What's your purpose?
Ah,
Friends, Instagram. But basically, yeah, I wonder why. What's your purpose? Why are you looking for it? And it'll just say, "Oh, I just want to try an ice bath. It's for recovery daw, ganyan, ganyan." Diba? Okay, what else? What else do you look for it? I mean, you know, like allow make them touch the cold. I want to see the reaction. I mean, I can tell their stress levels already when I see them. You know, but
yeah.
reaction to the cold. If you're gonna, ooh, I mean, yeah, okay, or they'll be like, "Uy, sarap." Diba? So it depends. And then I'll see like I'll put them on an airdyne bike just to see how they're breathing properly during a bit of exertion. If they're panicking already, of how their aerobic capacity is, just by monitoring how they breathe, you can tell right away. And then I'll do some breathing exercise with them, put them in the sauna for a bit. It depends. The workouts. It really depends on the individual, case to case. So if you're just a person who's never gone to the gym, never worked out before, so we'll do a lot of down regulation, diba? Lots of breath work before, different kind of breath work before, and different kind of breath work while you're inside the ice.
Okay. So what kind of breath work do you do before? And the inside, I imagine it's tumo.
Inside, no, actually, I'll do more like
Or
a box breathing inside. Yeah,
okay.
well, you don't want to. You need some oxygen in your brain when you're in the ice. You don't want to be unconscious, right? That's you're gonna because what happens, you get all the blood rushing to your heart, to your organs to save you. That's pretty much first sign of hypothermia, which is actually beneficial for metabolism. But you don't want to be in that state for too long. That's why it's important to down regulate when you get out, which is the breathing. You know, Wim Hof does his horse stance with the squat. So you have to know how to down regulate. It's very important.
Yeah, because there are cases of, you know, people who just follow Wim Hof online and then they just do it without any guidance. They have passed away, but I don't know what part of that practice. And I imagine it wasn't really ice bath. Parang there was a kid that did it in a swimming pool and then he passed away. Would you know why? Or
First of all, you should be with someone when you practice full plunging. That's number one. You're doing it. you're doing it in the beginnings, and you have to be with someone, because especially doing that kind of breathing, like I said, you're gonna lose oxygen in your brain. You have to be, and right away it happens to a lot of clients. You start feeling a bit lightheaded, this and that. Then right away you got to do some breath work. You have to make them lie down, put their legs up, get the blood and oxygen back to your brain. So that's what happens.
Yeah.
They get unconscious, they will drown, or something will happen. It's if you're not attentive, if you don't have someone who's experienced and very knowledgeable about these little things, then it's delicado, diba?
Yeah, and that's why it's good to no to look for a practitioner like yourself who's pretty experienced and who goes at it very professionally.
Because you see a lot of these things popping up these days, these cold plunging things that are attaching to gyms and this and that. But it's quite dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, especially if you have a heart condition. But you're not advised to go into the cold right away. You have to do a lot of prep for that.
Right. So what kind of prep would you do for somebody with cardiovascular issues?
Well, you got to test their stress tolerance first. But if you have cardiovascular issues talaga, then ideally you don't want to do any
All.
diba? Unless your doctor told you to go try it. But ideally, that's number one. No.
Yeah. So what if what if like you had a kid with behavioral issues or something like that? A kid, let's say, with anxiety, a kid, I would say teenagers, for example, like a 15-year-old or something, behavioral issues or whatever. Would you recommend them trying ice bath?
I think a little by little, not too stressful in the beginning. Make them enjoy the cold water. Make them swim a bit. They like the stimulations. I have few clients of PTSD and extreme anxiety, so I don't put them into the ice right away. But I just help them have fun at first and make them stimulate their brain, and then it gets a bit colder after that. So okay, and make them touch that, and then do some breath work in between, and put them in a colder environment. So I have 3 tubs. It's 3 degrees at home. So I have a 0, I have a 5, and I have an 8. So different stressors, different temperatures.
Nice. And I love it that you're equipped for like these differences, these variations, but you can change the protocol
Exactly.
as needed.
Yeah. So for the kids, for someone like that, like test them out little by little. Make them, don't shock them too much. And then eventually they just like it. Kids, they're easily stimulated. They end up, in the beginning, they're so scared. They touch the water, they're freaking out. And then they go in little by little, and they just start staying in there, and they start diving in and playing in the ice now. It's just nature. Our bodies like it. Our bodies like thermoregulation, heat and cold. They love it.
Yeah, and I think it's also kind of there's kind of a resilience training, diba? Would you say, Als? Like when you do it all the time, parang you develop this resilience to it. And it gets a little bit easier and easier every time you do it.
Yes, you get cold adapted eventually. There's nothing else colder than 0 degrees anymore. That's already freezing point. So after that's when you have to like kind of regress. I was actually traveling last year. I went to Madrid for 1 month, and I couldn't find any ice. I was freaking out because sometimes I'd get really depressed, in the showers here, and because it's not cold enough. Because I developed such a high tolerance. So I'd be like, oh man, I need colds. So I would get sad, like when it's just warm water in the shower and there's no cold water. So I eventually had to like, okay, just try to like breathe through this, and it's only a few days, and then just, you got to regress a bit, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, so wow. So even ice, like you couldn't even buy it from anywhere, like an ice machine or
No, what I would do is I'll just get ice from 7-Eleven, and put it in the bucket and slowly pour that, and enjoy that kind of stress as much as I can. Diba? But eventually, when I came back to Manila, I went back to the freezer, and 20 seconds in there, I was like, whoa, I missed that feeling. Yes, but I was in shock because I couldn't take it. I was like, wow, that was like crazy cold. I was like, whoa, I had 1 month without going to the ice. My baseline of dopamine was back a bit.
wouldn't that be concerning then, Als? Like if you're too dependent on the ice and then all of a sudden you don't have it, would that be concerning also? Like what would you do to make yourself be resilient even without the ice?
Wow. Anyways, exercise or do anything that's intermittent fasting is another thing that's gonna be part of anything that's hormetic response. That's hormesis.
Yeah.
It will stimulate that, right? So it's up to you. It's up to your jam. A lot of people don't like the ice. They're so anti-ice, so they like the heat better. In Chinese medicine, I believe also that cold is not good, diba? I'm not too familiar with that,
True.
but so not too much cold. They don't like they always want warm bellies, warm food, soups, diba?
Right. Have you heard that? Have you had somebody actually turn you down because of TCM? Because of Chinese medicines, they don't like the cold.
No, only the ones who've never tried getting in. Like I have friends, Chinese friends, and they're like, oh, that's all. We don't believe in that. I'm like, no, never tried it. Try it first. And then when they try it, they love it. Naman. So it depends to like
Yeah.
individual. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's science and there's science to back it up. So yeah, you could easily convert them maybe to ano. Yeah.
But I totally see how it makes sense too. Like in the beginning of my ice journey, because I also have a cardiovascular issue. I have chronic venous insufficiencies.
Yes.
Staying very long in the cold too much, and I would get the clots in my legs, and be wondering like, oh my gosh, because I guess it's too long, and my blood isn't as efficient as before anymore. So now I don't stay in as long anymore. I don't stay in.
Did it resolve the venous insufficiency or?
It's chronic, the only way is to wear stockings every day, but I don't. I just address just by moving, exercising, doing a lot of breath work, and just not sitting down too much. That's it. Eating the right
Yeah.
foods, of course. The minute I ingest too much carbs, sugar, and I feel it, salty stuff. So it's actually it's become a stress sometimes. I'm always thinking about it, but I found ways how to go around. So all good.
That's a good. So there's kind of like maybe a feeling of stuckness also. I mean, if we look at it like biologically, it might be like kind of a ball and chain thing in a way. Also, you're moving, right? So I wanted to talk about your business also, and you founded AB Wellness or AB Well. Yeah. Talk to us about that.
It just developed because of this journey of mine through the ice, through recovery. So when I retired from football, I was team manager of my old team, KFC. So I would help the guys focus on the 22 hours off the pitch. What we're not aware of as athletes, right? We know what to do. The 2 hours we train every day. We're like robots. We wake up and we just think about the game, play the game every day. So there's 2 hours on the pitch. We just play. But what do you do 22 hours outside the pitch, right? So there, number one, sleep is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Recover, right? Number one is sleep. Number two, nutrition. And number three is the maintenance, the strength and conditioning part of it. So that was my job before, and helping the guys just be in tune every day to be in tune. That's 2 hours a day. That's all you need to do, and you're earning so much money just doing what you love. So just reminding them that, being diligent about it, and then eventually it led to recovery, what I teach now. So AB well recovery, that's one aspect of it. The other thing is the nutrition side. And then I'm still exploring what's next. Because I'm slowly building it up. So I started with the ice, with the I sell as well the tubs, the chillers, the portable ones. So you don't need ice. You just need a socket and water. And you can just fill the tub and plug the chiller in. It'll cool down to 3 degrees, which is very cold already. Or it can go to 40 to 45 degrees hot. So you can do a hot bath in the morning. You switch it after you're done with the hot bath. Switch on the machine through your cell phone Wi-Fi, and it's gonna go back to cooling. So in the morning you can go for your cold plunge.
Really? You have those? You sell those now?
They're a game changer.
Amazing. Finally.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you
Yeah.
come to the practice of cold plunging, it's like it's a must. It's like you can turn on the system if you're hours away from the house or whatever, and it'll start cooling, and then you can set it at a certain temperature you want. You can do heat, you can do cold. It depends on your jam. Depends on your mood.
Perfect. How do people hear that?
They can hit me through the Instagram first. You can send me a message there. Otherwise, yeah, through Facebook or some. Yeah, those packages.
Through social media. And your social media handle is what again on Instagram?
It's Alybor, ALYBOR, and number 11. So Alybor 11.
Perfect. And how soon can people get their tubs in their homes? Like from the time that they order?
They can order now. I've been selling the tubs and the chillers for a few months now. And, just through my friends, they've been selling it through word of mouth for me because they get so addicted to it. Right when you get into the cold, it's like, oh, it's like an addiction. It's like a drug. And so they eventually want to buy the system for their for their house. I actually first started selling the freezers back in the day, refurbished chest freezers. Kind of like
Remember.
a lot of customers are saying it's scary. My wife doesn't want to go in a freezer, I'm gonna. But it's the best bang you can get for your buck because it's you can do it yourself at home. You just need to treat it like an aquarium. So it depends on your journey, depends on what you're looking for at the buck.
What about that? So does it have to be like if you set it up at home, it's better if it's set up outside, or where would it be? Because in the water, you have to kind of drain it.
As long as
Where
proper drainage and a good ambient temperature around the system, there's good exhaustion and chiller, then you can put it anywhere you want. You can put it in the beach. It's really great anywhere. It won't might not cool down as cold. So it depends on the ambient temperature you're outside. Depends on the insulation of the material your chiller's connected to as well. If it's like if you're connected to something that's really insulated, like a freezer, it could actually start spitting out ice. It go down to like 10 degrees already.
wow.
Depends, yeah. But you don't need that cold.
Yeah.
Get all the benefits out.
And so now you also kind of added contrast therapy na rin. So you have a sauna. Is that kind of something you've done lately, no?
Yeah, yeah. So I incorporate like into workouts, getting that short stimulus, huge stress inside the sauna, a few kettlebell swings, a few push-ups, a few breath work, and you activate each shock proteins right away. So it depends on your jam. If you want to stay in the sauna for long and go down to parasympathetic, then a lot of breathing work, a lot of breath work inside, put your legs up, lie down a bit, enjoy the heat. If you want a good acute stimulation, like a good norepinephrine, a good burn, like you get that feeling of like, wow, you played an intense basketball game, an intense soccer game for a long time, then you just go in there and work out for like 5 minutes.
Which one do you have? So that's like, that would be very much loyal to the Scandinavian who started it all, right? They started contrast therapy. Yeah. Yeah. Plus, I heard that contrast therapy, which I found, which I heard from Huberman in 2021 during the pandemic, or 2020 maybe even. No, he said that it increases stem cells 8 times. So that's also some benefit from doing contrast therapy. Right, galing. Okay. So who would you say else would your avatar customer be? Like who's your ideal customer? I agree. That's amazing. Yeah, anything to train your resilience, diba, is always it's gonna be good no matter what age you are. Yeah. So Alice, where is your location? I just wanted to put that in there because I know you are moving location, right? Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be
Yeah.
so cool. And I am interested also in a tubs. Yeah, it's definitely easier than buying ice from the 7-Eleven or something every day. It's such a pain. Yeah, you want the right dose, diba? Not too much, not too. You want the Goldilocks dose kind of thing. How have you seen women have that kind of effect where they become too lean? Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's also a little bit kind of like an eating disorder in a way. It's some sort of disorder, just some dysmorphia. Yeah, exactly. Parang there's something about it, which I think really we should address. 'Di ba? Okay, Al. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I'm so happy that we have somebody like you to look up to with, you're the Iceman of the Philippines. That'll be cool because Ali's trying to build a new community where he's going. And so, I know that in that area, there are a lot of like pickleball places and courts and everything. They need you. They need recovery for sure. Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much, Al. You're welcome. Thank you, everybody, for listening in tonight. And you know where to find Aly Borromeo, ALY Borromeo on Facebook, and Ali Bor 11 on Bye. Okay, Als. Wait, there. Did I stop recording? Yeah. Yes.